effort that it takes to complete the analysis, the customer interviews, the research that we talked about in our last unit can be pretty daunting. One of the things that can happen is you've got now literally file drawers full of data, spreadsheets all over your desk, and you're going to have to find a way to reduce that down to a very simple picture. Well, it's something we need to make sure you understand about what it takes to do that, because a simple answer can just be simplistic and gloss over everything that you actually want to say, or it can be elegant. I mean, even physicists who are trying to explain the whole universe in one equation, are trying to be elegant. It doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean it's simple-minded. It means you've gone through what somebody called the knothole to get to the other side of complexity. You got to make a big mess and really get through all that before you can come out with a simple answer that's more like a poem that tells everything in a few words. That's what we're aiming for, and it's hard work. Slide number 1, as we call it in our 5-slide deck, is the place to capture this complexity in simple terms. We started out the whole course talking about getting a clear message that you can say in 30 seconds. Well, a lot of those same messages land on the top of this slide. What is my big opportunity? What is the product or service that answers the need expressed in that opportunity? And why am I so sure that I can be the winning solution? Because there will be others. Now, the reminder I'm adding to the slide now is that we don't want to say that only in our words. You want to be able to say that now, having talked to all these customers, in their words. Because when you try this statement out, it's not just in general, is somebody going to be excited? You want the customer base to be excited to find out that you have that solution to that problem that they understand. So the main reformulation that's happened now through this unit is we can say that 30-second speech very clearly in customer words. But now we have to dig into what's behind that statement. How do we justify that? We can fill in this left column first by capturing the essence, the distilled version of what we've learned about the market. What are the market realities? What is the need? Is that a new need? Is it an existing need that's been there for a long time and nobody's found a way to solve? How the customers will react the 10th time they've heard somebody come along and say they've got a solution to that is going to be different than the first time. We need to understand what the need is, what the context is in the market. Better understand what all the options are that customer has to choose from. You will have heard about that and how they think about those options as you do your interviews. Now we need to position our solution. Why is it going to change the world for them? Is that going to be something that totally disrupts that industry? Is it just going to be something that helps them do what they already do but do it better? That's called Sustaining by Christensen. And we will have learned a lot about the barriers to adoption. That left column on the slide is really the essence of what we want to capture. The double check to ourselves and to the people we're probably going to have to explain this to come in the next 2 columns. What are the key assumptions you had to make in each of these categories? We don't want to try and remember those in our head, because if we do, we're not going to think of them all at the right time. We want to write down the key assumptions. And the second reason we want those key assumptions written down is because as you continue down this journey, some of those assumptions are going to prove wrong. If you go have them captured, you can come back and say, okay, what do I do about that? That turned out to not be true. If it's buried somewhere and you have no idea what that assumption affected, it's going to be a lot harder to do a quick update as you learn. And lastly, what is the evidence? That far right column is all about capturing the evidence you have that assumption is probably true. Remember, all these things are untested until you take your product to that customer and they write you the check. In the meantime, we've got to work on what we think is true and what we think will happen and why we have a good reason to believe that. When you've completed this picture, then you've got the first shot at having the ability to defend those statements at the top. And that's what we need to have. But a question I have for you is, at the end of this, when you try to summarize all that and make sure that everything is at the top is really crystallizing in an elegant way, everything is true about this particular set of opportunities. Is that working? When you read it, does it all fit? Many times the first time it doesn't. So what are some possible reasons behind it not working as well as you think it was going to? One, you just might need to work harder. And if you're stuck and you haven't found a way to pull it all together, remember that coaching team I asked you to go form? Take it to them. Sit down with people. Get help. But it might not just be hard work. It might be because these two things don't fit together, like Sesame Street used to teach us, right? And it might mean you're trying to tackle more than one opportunity. Maybe this set of customers over here behaves differently enough and has a different set of needs than this set over here, and you're trying to jam them together. You might have to do that slide number one for both of those until each of them makes really good sense. And then you can step back and recheck yourself. Did you learn something in that process or in the work preceding it that allows you to finally bring all this together into one single page? When you get to that elegant expression on one page, then you've finished with Module 2. And you're ready to go on to Module 3, which is now to formulate a strategy that allows you to respond to that need, which you've now gotten a lot more confident you really understand and can respond to.